Hey everyone, welcome to Infinite Realms. Today the topic of discussion is crowdfunding, and specifically crowdfunding for large corporations like Hasbro, Mattel. Lego hasn't yet, but you gotta wonder. Okay, so it's kind of tough because crowdfunding, it seemed the purpose of it was to engage. It was for smaller companies to engage and see if there's enough interest in their product to try to bring it to retail. And that was a good idea. It was a great idea because, so many businesses fail because they misjudge the market. And this was a way for them to test the waters and see, okay, would you pay for this product? And, things succeeded, things failed. Then it turned into the Sentinel and then the Engine of Vengeance, and it's kind of like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? And I think the failure of the Engines of Vengeance has really brought this forward to where it's like, okay, what the hell? So I'm going to run down my thoughts on the Engine of Vengeance first. Now, the car looks great, looks awesome. Love that car. And when it was first shown, I think people were blown away. And they automatically thought, Ghost Rider. And the main thing is the least popular Ghost Rider ever. So the most popular Ghost Riders, Dan Keach, Johnny Blaze, must be in here somewhere. It's the 50th anniversary of Ghost Rider. Keep in mind, this came up before the Retro Ghost Rider was announced. And then I think the Retro Ghost Rider was announced moments before this actually went live. So then the price point hit $350. So yeah, people took a step back and then they said, nah, I know what's going on here. It's so high because the tiers are going to be like Dan Keish's motorcycle and with Dan Keish, Johnny Blaze with his motorcycle. I mean, it's going to justify the cost, which I think would have. I mean, you got to think that the last time Ghost Rider came out, it was around $50 with the bike, and people bought it up. I mean, you can't buy that thing for under $100 right now. So, yeah, I think that would have justified the price for most people. And that's not what happened, obviously. Instead, we get Mephisto, Damien Hellstorm. And I'm not laughing because it's Damien Hellstorm. I actually like Hellstorm. But I'm laughing that they put that in as a tier to try to entice people. That's just like, what? And then Goblin Queen. And, there were laughable tiers. I mean, I'm sorry, they were, especially at that price point. It seemed to get less value for your money the more further it went. And I think it ultimately ended up hurting the project, and that's why it didn't fund. Now, I'm often amazed that some of these things do fund because they're pretty expensive, they're pretty big, but at the same time, I can understand why something like Galactus funded. It's huge, but at the same time, it is Galactus. It's a well-known character. I can understand why Sentinel funded. Huge, but of course, people want Sentinels to beat up their X-Men with. Of course it will fund. Yeah, but you just take a step back and you look at Robbie Reyes, really? What? Huh? Now, I kind of felt the same way about the Rancor. The Rancor was another one that failed. That was Star Wars Black Series. And to me, that was just a very low demand item. And I don't think people really wanted a Black Series sized Rancor. I mean, some did, obviously, but, I don't think a lot of people did. And I think that showed in the lack of backing. And, of course, you look at the worst one, I think. Now, this one didn't do as... I think the Engine of Vengeance did worse than Reva's lightsaber, but it didn't do good either. I mean, don't get me wrong, it did not do good. So I also think, but that was an item nobody ever wanted. Nobody really cared. I mean, Reva as a character had a mixed reaction to begin with. Why would we want her lightsaber for $300? So, I wonder what the thought process is in Hasbro on picking these projects. Now, some of these, it was obvious the demand was there. Jabba's sail barge is where the first time I ever remember Hasbro crowdfunding. I think it was the first time. And that was almost a dare. It was like, well, you can get this many backers to back this project. We'll make it. And to Hasbro's surprise, they did. And it warranted the price tag. It was a really huge item. I mean, all the stars aligned on that one. The Razor Crest, same way. I mean, the Mandalorian, super popular. That Razor Crest was great. I mean, I didn't realize. It wasn't until people got them and started looking at them, I'm like, oh, wow, that's a lot of stuff in there. That's cool. So, again, I might have, if I had been paying more attention on that one, I might have tried. But then, their Hab Labs got questionable. Like I said, the Rancor, Reva's lightsaber. Now we've got the Engine of Vengeance. Now the Hiss Tank funded, people have asked for that since Classified came out. Yeah, no wonder it funded, okay? I mean, fans have really been asking for that. Were fans really asking for Robbie Reyes? And I mean, I'm sure some were. And, I actually, myself, Robbie Reyes figure I would buy. Yes. Yes, I mean, I know enough about that character, I would buy him. The car? Yeah, I'd buy the car, but not for no damn $350 before shipping. No, not going to happen. And here's the thing, I contemplated backing that project, but I also was thinking the tiers had to be better. Again, Blaze and Keech would have done it. That's all they would have needed. Boom. They'd have had that thing funded. And that would have been a cool ensemble. I mean, it would have been like 3 of the Ghost Riders. You don't even need the one with the horse. It would have been cool, but instead of trying to do something cool, Hasbro did something to try to make money. And as always, when they do something to try to make money, they lose. To be called Hasbro Pulse, they don't have their finger on the pulse of the fan community. I'm just saying. Yeah, I also heard a weird interview with the head of global operations. You know who I'm talking about. Saying stuff like, they're going to bring in Eco Warriors and Ninja Force and to the Classified line. I'm like, what? Yeah, because those never killed a line before. And, of course, Mattel's gotten into it. They got the WWE New Generation ring. That one, I was surprised it did fund. Because we had rings just before that. But, the tiers made it worthwhile. There was Doink, there was Macho Man, and there was Kevin Nash, a.k.a. Diesel. So, that was almost like a bonus to it. I mean, a real bonus, not just like here's an extra figure, kid. Go away, you bother me. This is like, oh, yeah. We need that. So, yeah, that's why that funded. Eternia, of course, is the big one now. Eternia is obviously funded. It's, it's a higher price point, but it's a much larger playset. Not something I'm interested in, but some people are, and I can see people wanting this playset. Go ahead, have at it. Go, cool, awesome, enjoy yourselves. Not my thing, but I can see why you would want to try that as a crowdfunding project. I think the price point is high, but, you know, that's me. And people who want it can go get it. So, big question mark on that high price point. That was just way too high. $350 for that car was just way too high. That was ridiculous. But at the same time, I look at all this and I'm like, why don't you just tell us you don't know what the people want? Why don't you just say you don't know? I mean, seriously. Because it's obvious you don't. You would have never put out Riva's lightsaber. You would have never put out the Ghost Rider Engine of Vengeance at that price point. I mean, Rancor I get. Rancor's one that failed, but I get why you did that one. That was a gamble, though. But these other two is like, why? Why even bother? Why are those even a try? Why are you even trying? But I think it also speaks to their marketing, is that their marketing doesn't know what the audience is wanting. Are they not listening? Are they not looking? Are they not paying attention? That's the question. So, that creates these odd choices. But, here's the thing. I find Hasbro never listens anyway. I mean, I have been through so much with Hasbro since the relaunch of the Star Wars line. Old Power of the Force. And I remember years of saying, give us Slave Leia. Give us Princess Leia in her slave gear. And them saying, female action figures don't sell. Female action figures will not sell. No, that will not do. And finally they caved. I don't know why they finally caved. I mean, did they hear it enough? And boom. That figure, as widely released as it was, even on the secondary market, was through the roof. Meanwhile, Toy Biz is releasing a crappy Rogue with a bad makeup job that's going for $50. Female figures won't sell. I have not seen Hasbro change that much in 30 years. They think they know what you want. And then, they just release it out. And if it doesn't make it, it's like, oh, well, I guess it's because, people just like to put things down. And it's never like, gee, maybe we made a mistake. Maybe we weren't smart about this one. Maybe we shouldn't have put it up at that price point. Maybe we should really rethink how we're doing this. No, it was never that. No, it's never been that. And you can't point to me one time in this company's history where they've ever admitted, yeah, okay, that was not a good choice. I think I heard it once about, I want to say, the last wave of Legacy being a TRU exclusive, Toys R Us exclusive. I think they said, okay, that might not have been the best choice. But they were trying to say Expanded Universe doesn't sell. Yeah. What are those still going for now in the secondhand market? Yeah. I mean, I still got mine, by the way. I got lucky and got them. But, I got the important ones. So, in all of this, what's this all mean? I struggle with crowdfunding with that corporation that size. Because I see people saying smaller companies should not have to crowdfund anymore. Seamon, He-Man and Masters of the Universe, Clash for Eternia, and Marvel Zombies Zombicide 2 projects I've backed. I have played CMON's Song of Ice and Fire miniatures war game quite a bit and really enjoy it. They are a decent sized company. They're not huge. They're not Hasbro. They're not Mattel. They're not even Games Workshop. They still use crowdfunding. People criticize them for it. Some think rightfully so. Some don't. Now, I'm putting aside all the BS with the Zombicide shipping. Let's just put that away for now. I'm just talking about crowdfunding in general. And there's a valid point there. They are a big company at this point that should not need to do crowdfunding, but they do it anyway. I mean, let's face it, they're making millions per project. I mean, you can just do the math and see they're making tons and tons of money. So, that becomes a question mark as well. I mean, this is, how big of a company do you need to be before you need to stop crowdfunding? And apparently, you can be the biggest company in the world, Mattel, and still do crowdfunding. Which I'm not in. I'm not on that. I don't want to try it. I mean, I'm going to avoid it unless it's like something I really like at a reasonable price. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't hate Galactus or the Sentinel. Those boys are too big and too expensive for me to pick up. That's just it. It's simple. There is no issue I have with people picking those up. But, somehow when I say that, some people who did pick it up have issue with me saying that about it. I don't know. I don't understand that either, but that's all beside the point. But I do have a big issue with crowdfunding a major corporation like that. Because I can remember days where it was, this small company, we're going to do the crowdfunding, we're going to see how this goes, and it goes well. And then they pick up the ball and run with it. Not, let's go back to crowdfunding, or let's start crowdfunding because that is the way we handle people complaining they want something. Which is what I almost remember. I really almost remember the Jabba Sail Barge being. Was almost like a F you, get it funded and we'll do it. And then it was like, crap, we did it. Now what? Well, we got to give it to them. Really? Oh, crap. We've been stalling all these years and now we have to give it to them? Man. So, yeah, in summation, I'm always going to have problems with a company that big doing crowdfunding. I just always have an issue with it because I still think of crowdfunding as being that place where the small companies just starting out, and it was such a refreshing idea at the time, oh gosh, what could come of this? So many things, so many ideas, so many thoughts. And, then it goes to Hasbro. It's like, really, Hasbro? Really, Mattel? But it's not like I'm going to stop it. I mean, I can't stop it. I already know this. And, I see a lot of people complaining all the time about stuff about Hasbro and Mattel. And I'm like, there's plenty to criticize, but to devote your time and energy to just complaining is counterproductive. To devote your time to making excuses for them is counterproductive, which is the opposite of what people think you got to do one or the other. I just like, if I like it, pick it up. If I don't like it, peg warm it. Leave it there. And get upset when they do something that affects me. Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Or does something that affects the overall community. Yeah, I do. I will. I'll say it. But I don't think I can ever bring myself to crowdfund for these big companies. I won't say never, because I debated the Engine of Vengeance until I saw the price, and I was like, Unless I see Blaze and Keach, no. And I didn't see no Blaze and Keach. Okay, that's it for now about crowdfunding and big corporations. Because they are people too. Bullshit. Thank you for listening to my rambles. Don't forget to like and subscribe.